to Your Wealthy Self with me, Regina Martinelli. This show is about money and a whole lot more. Here we focus on you being able to expand your capacity for money, success, abundance, and inner wealth, however you define that for yourself, so that you can have what's most important to you, so that you can feel wealthy both inside and out. Because in this show, we stand in that you can create whatever is important to you, and you can have it without struggle, without blood, sweat, and tears. You can have it with actually ease and with certainty. Today is one of those days that we'll be talking about a whole lot more. Today, I'm continuing the conversation with my guest, Marian Lopez, the owner of Mama Cheesecake. We are continuing the conversation because last week, I hope you saw the show, she talked about how she chased her dream of being an entrepreneur. This week, we're going to talk about what it's like to have had your dream, been working in that dream job, that dream entrepreneurship, that dream business for enough time where you actually take a moment and go, I'm here? Is this what I want it to be? Is this what I expected? And what do I do with those feelings that are come up that aren't necessarily still that honeymoon phase? Like, what do I do from here? Do I continue my dream? Do I pivot? Do I make a shift? Do I hang out and just kind of steep in it? Because this is a rich conversation. We all go through it. A lot of times people don't want to talk about that when they have their dream life, whether it's their relationship, the job, the career, the business, the family, the home. And then there's a place of like, oh, this is the new normal. And it's normal. It's not as exciting. It's not as, maybe our passions changed. Maybe our viewpoint has gotten stagnant towards it. So what do we do in that place to continue that rich feeling of like, I love my life. I love where I'm at. I love what's here. Have that sense of wealth inside and out. These are great conversations to have. And people don't always talk about them, but they're enriching in our lives and they allow us to make choice. And I always say, you have more power when you have more choice in your life. When you have choice, when you can actually say, this isn't for me anymore. Or I want this to be different. Or I actually do love this. I'm going to recommit. Or whatever it is, whatever flavor it is for you. So that's what we're talking about today. So please welcome my good friend, Marian Lopez of Mama Cheesecake. Thank you, Marian, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about this. Now you've had your dream Mama Cheesecake entrepreneurship for some time now. What are you contemplating? What are you up against now that you've been in this dream position for a while?
What do I have in it?
Well, no. I was going to say, now that you've been here, we've had conversations like what is coming up for you now, having been in Mama Cheesecake?
So yeah, things were great. However, things didn't always turn out the way, I imagined. And it got really difficult this year, real difficult. I had an accident that knocked me out and I couldn't do anything until May. Knocked me out of doing work, that is. So I was injured. And then it was time to get back to work. And, every time I went back into that kitchen and I was doing what I love, it didn't feel like it was something that I love. I felt like I was being tortured. And it's like, you got to bake this right now. And it was like, this isn't what I signed up for. It just didn't feel the same to me anymore. Kind of blew me out of the water because I was like, I don't get this. And I have a lot of conversations going on and I'm thinking, why doesn't it feel the same? And spoke to a couple of people and they were like, well, it's just, you got to get back into it. You just got to get used to it. And it was like, yeah, that's it. But the more I immersed myself into it, the more I felt like I was being tortured. And the more it was like, this isn't fun. I always said, I don't bake when I'm angry. And I found myself being angry so many times. And it was like, how do I do this? All the people that used to help me are now gone. And it was just me. And prices, as everybody knows, have gone up. So ingredients were costing me more money. And I really learned I wasn't paying myself anymore. And that bothered me. And it was just so many different little things. And I was just like, I can't do this. And I called my daughter actually. And I said, my sister had come to help me. And I sent her to the store because I was so upset. I came up with a reason to send her to the store. So I sent her to the store, and I knew that bought me like 5, 10 minutes. And long and short of it is I got on the phone and I started crying, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I used to love this, but I'm not loving this right now. And she goes, why? And I go, I can't even explain it, but it's not making me happy. This is not making me joyful. And and she goes, Mom, then quit. And I said, I don't know that I can. And she goes, why can't you? Is someone holding you down saying you have to do this? I said, no, but I don't want people to think I just gave up. I don't want people to make an assumption that, oh, there's another one. She couldn't make it work. And my daughter goes,
Oh, go.
yeah,
No, finish your. I want to ask you questions. So you say what your daughter said. Go ahead.
okay. And she goes, Mom, she goes, are you crazy? She goes, you are so successful. It's not even funny. She goes, why do you think I run two businesses? Is it because I just want to? She goes, no, because I see you do it and I saw how you did it. Look at Sean. He climbed the ladder of this small business and is now a manager that most people never even dream of, but he knew he could do it because of watching you. She said, you're successful in so many ways. She said, you've been interviewed by Gwyneth Paltrow. How many people do you know have done that? You've been in the magazine of Professional Women magazine. How many of the people that you know have done that? And the list went on, and she kept talking about these accolades. She goes, heck, you were LA's National Latina Businesswoman of the Year in 2016. She goes, quit putting yourself down. You've worked hard. She goes, so if this isn't what you want to do, stop and think about what you want to do, and don't ever worry about what other people say. And you have nothing to worry about us because we are your biggest fans, as you know.
Yeah. How incredible that is. How incredible that is. And how did that
Yeah.
make you feel after you heard that from your own daughter?
Oh, well, it made me feel two different things. One, I felt like, oh, what an idiot. She's the mom and I'm the kid. I should have realized all this. And I just kind of laughed. And I actually, after I got off the phone, I said, thank you, God. Thank you so much. I needed to hear that. And it gave me permission to start thinking, could I walk away? How can I walk away? And it allowed me to do that. It allowed me to have this inner voice that was saying, help me, you know. And I did.
See, that's so beautiful because whether you walk away or not,
Hmm.
relevant. It's the permission that you give yourself
Yes.
creates the expansion of the space, right?
Right.
When you feel like, oh, I can't do it because people say I'm a failure, I worry about what they're thinking, or how I'm supposed to look when I've made my story public. I've on my journey
Yes.
to get here, and now they're like,
Yes.
on it, and or 5, 7, 10 years was enough. What? And but there's a place of when you're stuck there, like I have to do this for these reasons because
Yes.
what they'll say, you have no choice. But
Right.
when you give yourself permission to say, oh, I may walk away, I may be done.
Yeah.
It's like you could actually then start to settle into what's under that and
Right.
what actually is the new decision or the new path that you want to take. And it could be the same one. It could be the same
Yeah.
one that look different. And it could be a totally different one.
Right.
So what is it that's when you gave yourself permission, what were some of the things you realized that were going on?
I think some of the things was that realizing I wasn't getting paid was huge. It because getting paid um, really gives you some self-worth, knowing that, hey, I did this and people are purchasing it and I can pay myself, and I can pay my bills, I can take care of myself. That's huge. And when I realized that wasn't happening, I started resenting what I was doing, and that was the problem. And so telling people that I've got to up the prices, I would hear people go, oh, really, you're going to up the price? And so that made me think, well, wait a minute. And then I started speaking to a business coach. And she goes, "What do you put inside these cheesecakes? Can you run that by me?" And I was running everything through her, and she goes, "Wait a minute. So you really do use top quality ingredients?" I said, "Yes." And she goes, "And if you took it down a notch, what would happen?" And I said, "It won't be the same. The cheesecake won't be the same. Can I go to some corner 99 cent store and buy eggs and off-brand sour cream, off-brand cheese, cream cheese? Yeah, I can. Can I buy off-brand whipping cream? I could do all that stuff, but it won't taste the same. It won't be the same. And the way I look at things is, if it's something that I will eat, you're going to want to eat it. And I'm proud of it. But if it's something that I'm hiding, then I wouldn't eat it and I wouldn't expect anyone else to eat it. So if I can't read the ingredients
Yeah.
on any of my ingredients, I'm not going to use it.
So hence you need to raise your prices to pay for those, right?
Right. Right.
Yes. So then that resentfulness is like, let me get you, help me here, is I'm putting all of this effort, time, and quality ingredients.
Yeah.
People are like, I don't want to pay that for a cheesecake. But they
Right.
also know this delicious, healthy thing that they're getting versus
Right.
some packaged pervert
Exactly.
cheesecake.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know,
And I stopped doing the large 9-inch cheesecakes, and I started doing a little 1-inch bite,
got
1 inch, 1 ounce bite of cheesecake. Actually, it's almost 2 ounces.
So then where is your thought process now in all of this?
Well, here's a really interesting thing, and I don't know if I should bring this up now, but it helps because I've been like on this roller coaster. You mentioned the roller coaster earlier, and I thought when you were doing an intro, and I went, "Oh my gosh, that's it." I always talk about the roller coaster of life, right? You got to have it. Well, in business, the same thing happens. You have this roller coaster, and I just, one moment I'm up and I'm thinking, "Ooh, I can write the book I've been wanting to do all this time. Oh, wait, I know. I could turn it into baking classes. Yeah, I could do that. No, wait, I could do like sip and bake." Oh, so many things started coming to me and I started getting happy about it. But then I decided I didn't want to tell anybody. And my kids all agreed, "Don't tell anyone." My son-in-law said, "Just do me one favor." And I said, "Okay, what?" He said, do not close your website down, and I want you to go in and change all the prices. And honestly, I haven't done that yet. That's what I'm working on. I gave myself 1 week. So by next Thursday, I made this promise yesterday that the new prices will be up. And he said, and I go, "But if I put those new prices up, people are going to go, oh no." He goes, "Who cares? Don't worry about it. But it's got to be prices where you are getting paid." He goes, "Because if I wasn't getting paid right, do you think I would be doing all the stuff that I do?" He goes, "I wouldn't." He goes, "You have to be paid what you're worth, and you're worth a lot. We all know your product." And I said, "Okay, I could do that." And then my kids said, don't tell anybody. You don't need to tell anyone. You don't have to go on an announcement. "By the way, people, I am no longer going to be," just don't. And so I stayed away for 2 whole months of nothing. Not even I'm a post here and there, and that's about it. And I'm still kind of on the down low. I've taken some orders. I've done some orders. I gave them out, and it as I did each order, I realized it's not what I wanted to do. But then I felt myself feeling, but really a difficult place where I was like, ugh. And so I sat down with someone and we were chatting. And it's someone that I had met recently, and she had her own storefront. And she said, "Marian, I closed my storefront." I go, "I heard you did. And that blows me out of the way, out of the water." And she goes, "Well, that's when I started doing this." She's doing a magazine called Scene, and it's all about the city of Long Beach and what's going on in Long Beach. And she goes, "And that's why I wanted to talk to you." She goes, "But I'm interested in hearing more. So let me tell you about my store and the closing of it." She goes, "That was so difficult." And she goes, "You know what? I never told anyone." I go, "You didn't?" And she goes, "No, because it was really no one's business." And I went, "Oh my gosh." I go, "Did you make an announcement to your customers?" And she said, "No." She goes, I do plan on speaking to my top customers and letting them know that I'm going to be changing. I just haven't figured it out entirely, but it will go online. And I said, oh, interesting. And I said, and how did it make you feel? And she goes, honestly. And I said, yeah. And she goes, it broke my heart. And she was so close to tears. And when she said that, the hair on my arm stood. My heart just pounded. And I was in tears, and I said, "You put a name to how I feel. I have been doing this since 2013. Mama Cheesecake. I've been Mama Cheesecake since 2013. So it's been just over 10 years. I'm going in my 11th year. And my heart is broken because I'm saying goodbye. So it's never easy to say goodbye, but to know that I'm going to say hello to a newer version is what makes me happy. And that's where I'm at. That's what I'm working on now. And it's exciting. And but to acknowledge that hurt,
Yes.
huge. Huge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And gosh, thank you so much for sharing that in such a vulnerable
Yes.
way, because so many of us don't allow ourselves that time to mourn kind of the end of a dream,
Yes.
to mourn the end of something.
Right.
Because, you know, it's an adage, and it's an adage for a reason, like one door shuts and the door opens, but they don't
Right.
talk about that liminal space in the middle as you're reaching for
Right.
that next handle and you're pulling the other one closed. Like there's
Yeah.
that space of like, I need to take a beat and I
Right.
need to breathe, like cry or feel the emotions of what that ending was, what expectations were met or weren't met, what it meant to me, and also before I can get fully excited about what's coming, because this other energy is holding that space, like,
Yes.
you know, and when you can really allow yourself to be with it and let it process through whatever it
Right.
feels like, then there's so much more opening, clear opening of I
Yes.
can let the seeds of hope of new inspiration come and thrive and flourish while
Right.
I really say goodbye to that. And that's true in divorce, in selling a
Yeah.
house you raised, your family that you lived in,
Absolutely.
that passes, you know, a job
Yeah.
change. There is, there's just something that sometimes we get so focused on what's next, we don't really allow the completion of what was. And,
Yes.
and also the learning that's there. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Um, I'm just curious. So when you talked about this other woman, you both have the same feeling of you don't want to tell anybody because it's like you're protecting something, right?
Right.
What's it you're protecting? And I'm not saying it's right or wrong to not tell people because it's totally fine, but what is it that you're protecting in not telling someone?
For me right now, it's just I think I'm protecting myself.
Mhm.
I'm the type of person that wants to run out and protect and do for everybody else and help them and get everything fixed for them. I very rarely do anything for Marian.
Mhm.
So I think it's really important for me to stand up and say, I'm doing this for me. I'm protecting me right now. For now. At some point, I'll something will go up, something will be put on, but for now, it's just for me.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Right. I love this because it's like everyone will talk about me time or like, you know, your own quiet time when you meditate, walk, do whatever you
Yeah.
do. But there's a place where you're taking you time also with your business. Like
Right.
this is like our way of parting. This is our way of having completion in a certain phase, whether it's the whole thing or a portion of it, and letting that intimate time be personal for you
Yeah.
versus all this other stuff. Like when you talked about in our previous episode about all those people who said, "Oh my God, you can't be an entrepreneur. You got to be responsible."
Yeah.
Like, oh, but I'm denying my heart, and now you're having a chance to have another connection to your heart about where you both
Right.
are, you know,
Right.
and how it feels against with your business in your heart, and what's missing,
Right.
you want, and what you want to look like now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If
A rich
if
thing.
I can share something really quick that I think is important, when people run a business and they start putting it together and they're figuring everything out, there was always a question in the different classes that I took, and the question was, "What's your exit plan? How do you plan on leaving your business?" And everybody was always like, "Oh God, never." And I would sit there quietly and I'd say, "I'm gonna when I'm ready, I'm just gonna walk away. I'm closing the doors." And they would always go, "Excuse me, what did you just say?" The person who was training the class. And I would say, "I have an exit plan. Whether I turn it over to somebody and they continue it, whether I sell it or I just close it, I will turn around and walk away." And everybody in the classroom every single time would go, "How can you do that? How would you? That's your baby." And I'm like, "But even our babies, we say goodbye to them at some point when they grow up, and we say, okay, you got to live your own life, honey." You know, right?
It's very similar to like a prenup. You're having an exit plan, and it doesn't.
Exactly.
You want to have that exit plan. You really want it to flourish and to succeed, but it's
Right.
also like we're putting in some parameters so that
Right.
we can both walk. We can, go to the next
Yeah.
stage more whole. Yeah.
Right. Right. Of course, back then in my head, I was going to sell this for multi-million dollars and it was going to be really, really great. So that's not necessarily happening. But the fact that I get to evolve it into something else that is going to put a smile on my face and make me feel the way I did in the very beginning is worth $1 million to me.
Yes. Thank you. And also, I'm going to say, now that you know what this is like
Hmm.
the journey to get here. Oh my God. Okay. Now I had these expectations. It went a certain way. I'm happy I did it, but I'm now like, I can walk away and I know something else is going to give me joy. Like that experience of knowing what's on the other side, does that make you, I would imagine it make you less fearful about the next adventure and even more aligned with what your heart is and what you
Yes.
want. Because it's like, you're like, I know this feeling. I can do this even quicker and I can get
Right.
it. And yeah, so tell me about that feeling.
Right. So it does. It makes me feel really good because I know what all the pitfalls are. I know what to do. I know I'm excited. I will share that I will be a grandma for the first time in December is when he'll be born, and I'm looking forward to it. And I don't want to miss out because I'm sorry I got to go do 1,000 cheesecake bites. I can't come over and play, or I can't come see you, or I can't come hold you. I don't want to do that. I don't want them calling up and saying, "Grandma, look at your text messages. I just sent you a text message," and me crying, looking at. I'm not going to do that this time around. So I'm looking at creating something that I can still run, still have my life the way I see it and the way I desire it to be. So I'm really looking at doing something along the line of bake and sip or sip and bake, and where I will partner with some kitchens like in LA and open it up and bring in, I don't know, X amount of individuals, and we'll actually create different baked goods. And I'm looking at doing some baked goods that are gluten free as well as vegan and that type of stuff. So I'm really excited. I'm excited. And it may only be a class that's once a month, and that's fine.
Right. And what's so beautiful is you've allowed your dream and your path to evolve with you. You've
Right.
allowed it to evolve with you. Like you're in a different place of life. You're in a
Yeah.
different mindset, different heart set, different, all these different things.
Yes.
And that's the beautiful thing. That's about giving permission.
Right.
Marian, thank you so much for coming today. Again, it was so
Thank
great.
you.
So www.mamacheesecake.com.
That's it.
You can find Marian, you can find what she's up to. You can find out about her upcoming classes.
That's right.
We're so happy you're here, and we can't wait to
Thank
hear
you.
what happens for you next.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, thank you, everyone. If you got something out of today's show, please share it. Um, let's enjoy. Let's how do I say this? There's more joy. Let's create more joy in the world, and let go of the fear. Make sure you tune in next week as we continue to use money as a lens to revise the old beliefs holding you back from having more clarity, more freedom, prosperity, self-worth, appreciation, and daily joy, whatever it is that's important to you. Please send any questions you have to your wealthy self at e360tvlive.com. I love and adore you. You are an incredibly beautiful and precious being. And know you are enough just as you are to have exactly what you want and have it with ease and certainty. See you next time.